This takes me back. I love this song. PM Dawn, we are in the 90s. We've been going through the decades over the last few weeks. I was starting to think maybe the 90s I'll not be able to find that many that I like, but there were loads. So we'll play another maybe 3 or 4 between now and the end of the programme. But I think at this point it is very important to let you know that on the programme tonight there is a viper in the studio. A wee skitter of a viper, but a viper nonetheless, all the way from Ballymena. It is Dawn Nicola Weir. Hello, Nicola.
Hello, the wee angry leprechaun's back.
Oh, look at you putting on that wee smile. Your face is cracking because you want to be so angry as you usually do. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic. I did a spin class, so I'm just up for it tonight.
Oh, really, are you?
I'm up for it.
It's good to know. Thankfully, though, we have the ever-calm Jerry Miller here as well. You're going to help me restrain the viper from Ballymena.
She's in good form. She got all the anger out of her in the spin class.
I did. We were having a nice wee conversation and you just butted in.
I know, because we're
angrier by the minute, aren't we?
We're on air, but yeah, I'm terribly sorry. It is important that we have Jerry here tonight because we are talking about grassing on your workmate. So this is everything from Nick and Lou roll to taking 20 smoke breaks a day. You might be thinking to yourself, do you know what? I know some people that do exactly that. And is there a point, though, where you just have to go, right, enough is enough, and I have to go and tell the boss? Nicola, against all reason, I'm going to start with you. What do you reckon?
Well, as you know, I work with the lovely Vinny on the Stephen Nolan show.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Jerry, as you butted in there after that song, that we are a very strange, dysfunctional family where Vinny is Vinny is the great aunt that nobody wants to kiss at Christmas.
Right.
That kind of way.
Okay.
Ross is the daddy, isn't he?
Now, you're going to start talking about people that no one knows. So,
Yeah, no, well, but I think we should just hold up a picture of
And
Ross.
did they ever do anything wrong that they deserve to be told on?
I am of the opinion that unless something is impacting on me at work,
yes,
I don't see the need to tell on anybody.
Why?
Because why? If it's not impacting on me and it's not impacting on my work, why would you feel the need to snitch to the boss about something that's not affecting
Well,
you?
obviously, though, Jerry, there is a line where it might not be impacting on you, but you might see something and think, it's just not right. It might not directly impact what I do, but it's important that I take a stand.
I think, Vinny, there is a line, and I would draw the line on I wouldn't lie for someone to back them up if they're doing something strange or wrong in work. Like it was mentioned, maybe someone's stealing lube paper or someone's taking photocopier paper or actually photocopier ink. Now, I can understand that because it's actually officially dearer than gold. I can understand somebody. But anyway, I think I wouldn't inform anybody on any of those things, except if it was an investigation and suddenly somebody, I wouldn't actually.
But why would you not? Why do you think it's okay to let them carry on and that you have no responsibility as an employee of that place to do something? And I don't necessarily mean skywrite.
I think it's kind of like, do you want to be, people don't really like do-gooders or,
busybodies, I think.
Yeah, and in Belfast vernacular, you're just a tout. Nobody wants to be a tout, so I think you have to be very careful what you're going to bring up. And does it say more about you? If you're the person who's going to complain about somebody taking paper or pens from the office, it maybe says more about you than the person that's actually doing it.
Oh, really? You're not serious? So someone else, maybe, let's say, for example, they are stealing something, and you're saying, well, maybe it's more of a negative thing on you if you report them than it is for them to be stealing and doing wrong in the first place.
Or maybe not even, somebody, for example, taking smoke breaks all the time, and maybe not working as much as somebody else and all. But those sort of things, I think, are you don't want to push it too much. I think there's a bit of. I think also there's a bit of. We don't all like authority. And I think there's a bit of them and us, even in a
That's
workplace.
you, Nicola.
But I think there is a fine line. If somebody is stealing goods from a workplace and they're being very visual about it and they're going, I'm taking the photocopy paper, they're going to get caught out.
Yeah.
I think if somebody's doing that, it probably is going to be a very covert operation.
Are they really going to get caught out, or will they get caught out because as a result of you helping? Because you work for this place.
Well, how would I be helping? I mean, they're going to be, if they're so blatant about it and they're shouting about it, they're going to get found out.
Yeah.
What I would say is that the things that niggle with me would be if somebody is taking credit for my work
That's not the same. That's not what we're talking about.
It kind of would be, because I would go to a boss about that and say, excuse me, that was actually my idea, and that was not their idea. Now, that would get on my nerves.
Yeah, that's fair.
People taking extra smoke breaks, it's not impacting on me, it's not impacting on my work, it's not impacting on the way I carry out my work.
You think, like, life and work are very similar anyway? It's not a black and white, so there's a grey area in life. Like, would you, if somebody was parked on double yellow lines or using their phone when they're driving, would you call the cops? Or, if there was a lock-in in a bar, I was thinking, that sort of, would you call the authorities about that?
Jerry, you've been to some very dark places. Very dark places.
It never happens in Belfast, but I've heard.
Jerry just let a little cat out of the bag there, didn't he? Let's go back to the smoking thing, because you say, like, if it doesn't impact you, it doesn't matter, it's fine, etc., etc. But hold on a second, I'm a non-smoker, so if I decide every hour for 5 minutes to put my feet up on the desk, do you think would something be said? And if I then did it every hour for, every hour of the day for 5 or 10 minutes, would then not something be said? Would there be an issue there?
Well, I suppose it depends on what workplace you're in. I think that if you're in a bank, probably that wouldn't go down too well with other people who are working very hard around you. I think it all depends on the situation that you're in. Again, but I go back to my original point. Yeah. If it is not impacting on you and it's not impacting on your ability to carry out your job and you're still getting ahead.
Okay, well, let's say it is. Let's say it is, Jerry.
However, if somebody is going on my coattails,
well, can I say this?
To get up, then
you're obsessed with this.
When I started at Daily Mirror in Boucher Crescent, actually many years ago, and I failed in my bid to quit smoking, and the first day of smoking I learned more about the intrigue and the scandal in the office than I had the previous 6 months. So, smoker, I think there's one good thing to be said for smokers. They know what's going on. Well, that wee 5-minute break and all the conversations and all the scandal.
Gossiping, but that's not a positive, Jerry.
It should be a gossip break for everybody.
Yeah,
every hour and a half, and we'll find out what happens.
Let's then talk about how maybe if it does impact you. So for whatever reason, whatever is happening is having a negative impact on you. Should you go and say something then, and then is it your responsibility to do so quietly? Because obviously, if you do it in an open way, you can make it obvious for everyone in the office that there's an issue with someone, and not just the fact that you are then that person taking the stand or being the grass, whatever you want to call it.
I think the most responsible thing to do in that situation is not to act like a child that goes gurning to the headmaster. If I had a problem with a work colleague, I probably would confront that issue with my work colleague.
No doubt you would.
And Vinny knows this because he works with me every day, and he knows what I'm like. And I think that if you're in a workplace, you should be an open book. And if you confront your work colleague and say, look, this is what's annoying me, this is what's impacting on me, and I'm giving you an opportunity to mend your ways, and if not, then...
Hold on, and how is that your job? Is that not management's job?
But why not be adult about it?
Well, what are the managers being paid for?
Your work colleague is completely oblivious to what they might be doing wrong, which in a lot of occasions, a lot of people are oblivious to what they're doing wrong. Now, Vinny,
I can't give you an example.
Don't be
looking for specifics.
I'm not going to go into specifics because but I think the most respectful thing and the most adult thing to do is to actually speak to that work colleague yourself.
I like what you say. Rather than bring in the management,
run straight to management. Why do that?
Those sort of petty things can be very important. I mean, that could be a mark in your career history. Everybody talks about integrity and honesty.
Are you talking about on the person that is breaking the rules or the person that's grasping?
The person that's breaking the rules. For instance, say you talk about that barrows or photocopier paper. If that became an official thing, that is real. That's theft, and you could lose your job over that. And you might be. You obviously.
But it is theft.
Do you want to make it that important? Does it deserve to be that important? Is it just a bit of?
Okay, well, say we keep mentioning loo rolls because it's mildly amusing for some people. Let's say you're in a shop, right, and you saw someone stealing in a shop. Nicola, stealing a pack of loo rolls. Would you feel any, responsibility on you to go and say something?
Well, what I would do is I probably would go up to the person and say, you do know that I just saw you stealing a loo roll.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, now, Vinny, you know me. And
but these are strangers now we're talking about.
Why would I put myself in danger in a crowded shop? Just to go over and say, look, I do know that you've just stolen or you've just put something in your bag, and just walk away.
Yes. And what?
Or do you expect me to run round looking for a manager?
And what about if that particular day you heard that that supermarket, for example, had made £1 billion profit, would that, look at your eye twitching as I ask you, would that make any difference?
Why would that make any difference?
Well, some people might say, well, it's like it's almost a victimless crime.
But you're suggesting to me that I would change my personality in some way because of something I'd heard. My personality is to do what I've told you that I would do.
Mm-hmm. I'm just asking if you would adjust it for certain circumstances. So, for example, you went into this supermarket and you were aware that had made, let's say, £10 billion of profit was announced that morning, and the person that was stealing, you thought that person is quite possibly homeless. Would that adjust your thinking?
No. It wouldn't adjust my behaviour.
Okay.
Just as you say that, something did come to mind in that. I'm not going to mention any names or
please
what happened,
don't.
But something did happen where I was aware that an employee of a company was stealing.
This is where I get nervous.
I'm not going to mention
talking about the BBC.
And I thought about this for a long time.
Yes.
Actually, probably about a week before I then decided that the reason why I then phoned the headquarters and told them about it was because I was worried that people coming behind me, they were doing exactly the same thing. Therefore, I felt a moral responsibility to those who were coming behind me, who may have their money taken as well, to report that. Now, that, I think, is
stealing money.
Well, on the same vein of what Nicola said, let's take it back into your own workplace and wherever you're working. If you don't act and say something to the boss when you see something happening, you might be facilitating that to happen for years and years, and maybe for other people that come along the way to take up the same practices.
To some extent, I suppose I'm making light of it. I'm thinking about the loo paper, or in our case, the dishwasher tablets. But, or the pens or the office paper. And when it comes to money, there are serious things as well. So you can take a serious line about it, and sometimes you do have to report things. Sometimes police are involved. Sometimes certainly management will be involved, and people will lose their jobs if there are things going wrong. But
it's also, again, as I said, we were making very light of the loo rule. Now, there's some companies that are very small who only have maybe 5 or 6 employees, and to them 2 or 3 reams of photocopying paper it's quite a lot of money. So again, I go back to it all depends on the particular circumstances.
So if they're rich and they've loads of money, then it's fine.
No, I didn't say that. I said that if it was impacting on, let's say it was going to impacting on me. So in other words, if that extra money that's coming out may cost somebody their job because they can't keep an employee, then I think that in that instance you probably would have to go to management and say something.
All right. We have been streaming on Facebook. We'll do another stream later on in the programme. A few comments on here. David says, I'm slightly scared for whoever has stolen an idea from Nicola. Chris on Twitter says, Nicola seems particularly angry tonight. Yes, Chris. I think you could have a point there.
Karate chop to the throat.
Stephen says the likes of taking extra smoke breaks or an extra 5-minute break, fair play to them if they're getting away with it. Whereas there was one here which seemed a little bit strange. This is a different Stephen. I think he's saying in terms of taking loo roll, or maybe it's also negative for mates that come around to your house and use your loo roll and save their own.
What?
Well, I don't think it's quite the same, but it's a fair enough point.
What does he mean?
I don't know that.
What do you mean, like use it when they're
Stephen Walker on
the
Facebook.
toilet?
There you go. Anyway,
bring their own.
Never go to Stephen's house. That's what I say.
Enough of that. Listen, we will come back to this. We'll talk about this later on. We're also going to talk about parenting and how maybe your parenting style encourages your child to grow up a little bit too early, and they don't get the full benefit of their childhood. Isn't that right, Nicola? Work. That's what Nicola says. 81771 on the
Art
text.
labour.
If you want to get in touch.
This
You can't actually be serious.
is the Vinnie Hurl Show.
On BBC Radio Ulster
Do you sleep with my picture at night?
and BBC Radio Foyle.
I bet you do.
Absolute nonsense.
I guess now it's time